Infrastructure.
Yeah, it is. Jim Beth set up, for example, a special book club for his senior executives in the Department of Planning to study Bruce Pascoe's work of fiction, Dark Emu. Now, what has Dark Emu got to do with planning approvals, land releases, housing supply, housing affordability, all the things that the taxpayers would imagine they're funding someone like Betts to deliver? And of course, he'll now go to Canberra and do the same.
Yes, but
so
I mean,
this
just
stuff
coming
is
back to this,
everywhere.
this is the Department of Infrastructure, Mark, which is managing in Canberra billions and billions of dollars. Who did Albanese check with before he appointed this bloke as the head of that department? After Perrottet sacked him here.
Yeah, well, Albanese knows what he's doing. Albanese is woke and he knows where Betts is coming from, and you've got to face the reality that in that department now they'll be distracted with all manner of gender, sexuality, Indigenous. I mean, Betts is full on thinking he's the king of reconciliation. He'll be running unconscious bias programs, Indigenous programs. I mean, Alan, there's a list as long as my arm of the woke programs that he ran in New South Wales. He'll do it again in Canberra with the approval of Albanese. This was always the danger, not so much what Albanese said in the campaign, but what he'd do through his minions once appointed.
Tell us about Umina Beach Public School with a gender fluidity class for Year 2 students, and the Education Minister is a member of the National Party in a Liberal coalition government telling 7-year-old boys they can be girls and vice versa.
Well, I think it's a form of child abuse. If you take Year 2 students, 7-year-olds, and tell them, little boy, you can be a girl tomorrow, and girl, you can be a boy, it generates confusion. These are not concepts that are understood by 7-year-olds. And gender was described by the Deputy Principal as how you feel on the inside, not biological science. I mean, shouldn't the starting point for a school be to teach science? We're always told follow the science. Well, what about biological science? So Umina Beach has gone down this path. They ran a class on this topic. They misled the Minister, Sarah Mitchell, and misled the public by saying Mitchell said initially, oh, this was out of class time. I've got the documents and exposed it in Parliament. It was in class time, and for the number of students who opted out of it through their parents, they had to go do alternative classes. So how about literacy and numeracy, Alan? We've got a situation where in Year 1, 43% of our students don't pass the Year 1 phonics check. That's just the basic sounding out of their words. We have 12,000 Year 6 students in New South Wales who go to Year 7 essentially illiterate. Now, you can teach gender fluidity, but it's wrong. It's a form of child abuse and it's a distraction from the basics of learning.
Are you serious that the Deputy Principal of this school has told parents, and I quote, as part of our child protection unit, Year 2 classes will participate in a lesson about gender diversity. Gender refers to the way that you feel on the inside. It might be expressed by how you dress or how you behave, and for some people, these things may change over time. Unquote. Are you seriously telling us that a Deputy Principal has written this to parents?
Yeah, absolutely. Parents came to me with the documentation. That's what she put out. It's ironical. They say it's part of the child protection unit. They're trying to pretend it's part of the New South Wales curriculum. I regard it as child abuse. But that's what they're saying, how you feel on the inside. But how does a 7-year-old feel on the inside about gender? I mean, this is not something that will cause anything other than confusion and distress and dismay.
Utterly.
And if teachers truly believe this, at least wait until the students are adults, 18 and above. If they push this in universities and all that, people can make up their own mind as adults. The 7-year-olds here are being used as gender pawns.